But first of all, I want to say welcome, everyone, and thanks for coming out to celebrate this great milestone in the history of the Performing Arts and Event Center, while honoring somebody who has done a great deal for our community, our King County Councilman, Pete von Reichbauer. I'd like to also quickly introduce some folks that are here today, your elected representatives. We've got our Deputy Mayor, Susan Honda. Councilmember Lydia Asefa-Dawson. Councilmember Mark Kopang. Former Mayor Jeanne Burbidge. Former Mayor Mary Gates. Our inspiration throughout this entire process, along with an army of people behind her, Joanne Paquette. We also have former Mayor Michael Park, who was a huge part of this. You guys, there's so many people that helped make this possible, but we also want to talk about, Jeanne is the For Culture board member, and that has been her role. Mary Gates, in addition to being the former mayor, serves now as the Performing Arts Foundation chair. Thank you, Mary, and thank you for your board. I really appreciate all those board members. We've got our PAEC general manager, Brian Hoffman. With Spectra Menu Management, we've got Autumn. Thank you, Autumn, so much for all your work every day. I'd like to welcome members of the Federal Way Performing Arts Foundation, their gala committee, and the Federal Way Coalition of the Arts, and members of the resident arts organizations. Let's give them a big round of applause. Without all those folks, it's just a building. I also want to put a quick plug in for the Foundation's gala event, which will take place right here on August 5th, and we're welcoming Los Lobos for a performance, and that should be a great show. What did I say? Oh, October. Don't come here August 5th. Well, unless there's a really good show. Never mind. Was that my outside voice? All right, let's get back to the script. All right. One of the great things about this building is its location. Now, if you haven't been up here on a clear day like today, wow. With the scene of Mount Rainier in the background and the view from one of the meeting rooms is really quite incredible. You know, when I was talking about this event and about where this is, it reminded me of something. You know, I'm a big sucker for history, and it reminded me, frankly, of the Acropolis in Athens and the ancient citadel located on the rocky outcrop above the city of Athens. And it contained several ancient buildings of great cultural and historic significance. An Acropolis in ancient Greece was a settlement built on elevated ground. That's really what we have here. But there's been one critical piece missing, and that was this signage. And when we first opened in 2017, and the piece was the appropriate signage. Today we have that missing piece filled in, thanks in large part to our King County Councilman, Pete von Reichbauer. This signage notifies every resident and visitor to Federal Way that the PAEC, our very own Acropolis on a hill, is here. Now, to introduce our former mayor and For Culture board member, let's give a big Federal Way welcome to Jeanne Burbidge.
Thank you, Mayor Ferrell. It is so exciting to be here today. It's exciting to see the signs up. And I was talking with manager Brian Hoffman just a few minutes ago, and he was telling me how he has been able to view the signs from 320th as he comes off I-5, and has finds them to be very impressive and very visible. I haven't had the pleasure of seeing them at night yet, but he has. So I'm looking forward to that experience. And it was certainly exciting to learn last August that $100,000 was being allocated for these signs so that they could be installed, built and installed. I so appreciate all the efforts which made the signs possible. Councilmember von Reichbauer's support of the PAEC adds great value to the quality of life in Federal Way, South King County, and beyond. And when I talk about support from Pete, the County Council, and For Culture, I also want to express appreciation for the previous $2 million allocated toward construction of the PAEC. For Culture has its roots in the King County Arts Commission, created in 1967 to ensure access to all of the arts for all of the people in King County. For Culture continues to be committed to advancing the highest quality of life and sense of community through the arts. The PAEC signage funding is an affirmation of the value of the arts in all of our lives as we work together toward an ever more vibrant community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeanne. Now, we can't say enough about the work that the PAEC Foundation is doing. We so very much appreciate it and all it does for our building and this facility. Here to say a few words is former Mayor Mary Gates, the Foundation's chair. Mary?
Thank you all for attending, but most of all, thank you, Pete. This not only is Pete supportive of the PAEC and supportive of the signage, but he's also been supportive of the Foundation Gala, which is October 5th. And what I want to say also is he is our first silver sponsor for the gala coming up in October. So that's really significant, and we so appreciate it. What is the foundation doing? Its first initiative is the Arts for Youth program, and that is bringing thousands of young people from our schools for performances here in the PAEC during their school day. Let me tell you a story. I had a person stop me and say, "Mary, there's a problem." And I said, "What's that?" They said, "That's not the Performing Arts Center up there. That's a school bus barn addition." I went, "What?" And they said, "No, just look up there. It's all buses." And I went, "Well, yeah, they're having a performance. And how do you think the kids get there from the schools? They've got to have," oh, I didn't know that was the PAEC. So the need for this sign was so important. And we still have the conversation about what are those buses doing up there. But now they'll at least know they're attending the Performing Arts Center in Federal Way and not a new bus barn. Thank you again, Pete, and thank you to For Culture also. Jeanne, having you on that board is more than you could ever imagine in terms of important for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. And now, from Spectrum Management, all the way from the, let's give a big round of applause for Brian Hoffman.
Sure, I appreciate it. Thank you. Well, welcome, everyone. Thank you very much. Today is a great day on behalf of Spectrum Venue Management. We're thrilled to be here with this signage. Thank you very much, Pete, and the For Culture Board to give us some identity. And what we do in here. And, in the 10 months that we have been here, we've accomplished a lot of things. We still have a long road to go. I really want to give a thanks to the city staff to make this happen, particularly Autumn Gressett, with her passion and making what we have here today a fruition for all of you folks that have been wanting this signage on the PAEC. And, we have, it's been said before with the October 5th event with Los Lobos, but stay tuned. We have a lot of great events coming up, and we will be announcing them in the coming weeks. And, thank you all very much for being here, and check out what we have coming up on our website at fwpaec.org. And again, thank you very much, Pete. We appreciate everything you've done for our community.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. Okay. And now the big reason why we're here today. Great communities have champions that help them achieve big things. Those who are always thinking about how to make our community better. They are advocates, cheerleaders, people with vision and dedication. We heard from a few of them a few moments ago. Well, that's what Pete von Reichbauer has been and continues to be for Federal Way. Pete knew there was a need for signage here at the building, and he wanted to see that vision through. Working with the rest of the King County Council and for Culture, Pete lobbied to get us $100,000 for the Building a Culture grant to help get this signage built and installed. So from a grateful community, we say thank you, Pete. At this point, let's give Pete a big round of applause and have him come up and say a few words.
Thank you. First of all, I want to, for those of you who follow Facebook, you should recognize that when the plane flies overhead, it's probably Bruce Honda trying to take a picture. Because this is the first time I've ever been at an event where Bruce Honda is not taking a picture, and he's usually in the air all the time. So Susan, I'm sure that's Bruce down there trying to make sure the plane can get in here. Secondly, I want to thank the members who have preceded me. Let me say, what happened here was last year I held an event here for the Sports Scholarship Fund, and one of the Auburn City Council members spent 30 minutes trying to find this location because there was no signage. And I said to him, we will change that. So this year on June 29th, when we're going to have a Scholar Athlete Fund, pardon me, I can give a plug too. I hope that my friends from Auburn can come up here. When I first got to know these three ladies here, because I basically got to know all of them about the same time in 1970s, and we got to know each other quite well on various projects. People forget that Jeanne and her husband were very involved in the school levy. In fact, were very strongly involved in helping the school levies survive some very troubled times here. But the times that have changed Federal Way since I got to know these three ladies has changed our community. We've gone from a little sleepy, unincorporated town to an incorporated town that is one of the most diverse cities in King County. Dr. Campbell's often saying how many different languages are spoken in the Federal Way School District. When you have as diverse a community as we have, we need things to bring us together. And to my mind, when I come here and see an event, whether it's young students representing music from Africa, or seeing the great performances by Korean children, or seeing diverse presentations from around the world here, that is why these three ladies, and they should be getting the applause, this is why this building was built. As we get more diverse, we need more things to bring us together, and nothing brings people together more than the arts. Please give these three ladies here a round of applause. They saw the change coming, and this is getting ahead of the change. And I don't care where people have the benefit of coming to, we're all now part of Federal Way, and Federal Way is anchored. Federal Way is anchored by the PAEC, and I'm happy to be a part of that process, and I want to congratulate everybody here for being part of that program, and thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Pete. And we've worked very hard to transform this part of our downtown. The pieces are slowly coming together. The park, this building, the town center steps you see and actually can hear being constructed behind us. And eventually we'll have the higher education educational hub, or what they call the hub, just to the north of us. We're creating a great space here, one that will live on and flourish literally for decades. Thank you, Pete, for helping us fill in a key piece to this puzzle. And thank you, everyone, for coming out today. Now we're going to gather, take some photographs, and really make sure that we cement this into our hearts and memories. So I want to say thank you, everybody, for coming today. We could have asked for better weather. I just want to say thank you so much for being here today and sharing this important moment. Thank you.